Let me tell y'all something. Life has a way of knocking you down. And I don't mean just tripping you up a little bit. I mean laying you flat on your back, taking the wind out of you, making you wonder if you'll ever get back up again. And for a woman who has to rebuild herself alone, oh, that's a different level of strength. See, people don't understand what it takes to start over when nobody is coming to rescue you. When there's no hand reaching out, no safety net, no shoulder to lean on. Just you and God. Just you and the mirror. Just you and that deep, deep well of strength you didn't even know you had. Life has a way of testing people, especially those who dare to dream, love deeply, or stand tall in their truth. It doesn't always come gently. It can shake you to your core, leaving you wondering how you'll ever recover. For a woman who finds herself in a place where everything she built has crumbled, where the people she trusted have disappeared, and where the future she envisioned is no longer within reach, the journey back is not just about healing. It's about becoming. When life knocks you down, the first blow is always the hardest. It's that moment when reality sets in, when the pain is fresh and when the loss feels unbearable. Maybe it was the end of a relationship you poured your heart into. Maybe it was a dream that didn't work out despite the long nights and sacrifices. Maybe it was betrayal from someone you never imagined would hurt you. Whatever it is, it leaves a mark. It shakes your confidence, your faith, and your sense of direction. The world can be quick to judge a woman in her brokenness. People assume she's weak, that she can't handle life on her own, that she'll crumble under pressure. They whisper about her behind closed doors, questioning if she'll ever rise again. What they don't understand is that real strength isn't about never falling. It's about what happens after the fall. It's in the decision to get back up, even when every part of her is screaming to stay down. At first, the rebuilding process is slow. There are days when the weight of it all makes getting out of bed feel like an impossible task. Nights when the silence is so loud, it forces her to face emotions she's been running from. Moments when doubt creeps in, making her wonder if she's even capable of moving forward. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes, and yet through it all, it's in the quiet moments of something deep inside refuses to give up. It's in the decision to take small steps, even when the path ahead is unclear. It's in the refusal to let past failures define her future. Rebuilding after being knocked down is not about proving anything to the world. It's about proving to herself that she is more than her pain, more than her past, and more than the circumstances that tried to break her. Pain has a way of becoming a teacher. It strips away illusions, reveals hidden strength, and forces a woman to see herself in ways she never has before. The process is uncomfortable, even brutal at times, but it is necessary. Because in the rebuilding, she discovers that she doesn't need validation, approval, or permission to rise. She realizes that everything she thought she lost was simply making space for something greater. There's a moment in every comeback story where something shifts. It's when she looks in the mirror and sees herself not as a victim, but as a survivor. It's when she stops asking, why did this happen to me? And starts saying, what can I do with this? It's when she no longer waits for someone to save her, but takes full control of her own life. That's when strength transforms from an idea into a way of being. The woman who rebuilds herself after being knocked down doesn't return as the same person. She is wiser, more intentional, and unshakable in her purpose. She no longer settles for less than she deserves. She no longer allows fear to dictate her choices. She no longer shrinks to fit into spaces that were never meant for her. She stands taller, speaks with conviction, and moves through the world with a quiet power that demands respect. The truth is, life will continue to bring challenges. There will always be setbacks, losses, and moments of uncertainty. But once a woman has rebuilt herself from nothing, she knows she can do it again. She no longer fears being knocked down because she understands that every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger. Her resilience becomes her greatest weapon, and her past struggles become the foundation for an unbreakable future. Rebuilding alone is a journey that few talk about, but many experience. It's the kind of challenge that forces a woman to face herself in ways she never expected. It requires an unshakable level of faith, resilience, and self-belief, even when the odds seem stacked against her. There is no roadmap, no perfect guide to follow, only the determination to keep moving forward, step by step, through the uncertainty. When everything falls apart, the first instinct is often to look for something or someone to hold on to. But when no one is there, when the support system she once relied on disappears, she is left with only one option: to become her own source of strength. It's in these moments that faith becomes more than just a word. It becomes the foundation. She has to believe in something bigger than herself, whether it's God, the universe, or simply the idea that there is a greater purpose for her life beyond this moment of struggle. Faith is what keeps her going when logic tells her to quit. It's what allows her to trust that even though she can't see the full picture, she is still being led in the right direction. Resilience is not something people are born with, it's built through experience. And there is no greater teacher than hardship. Every setback, every disappointment, every moment of loneliness is shaping her into someone stronger than she ever imagined. It's in the quiet moments of struggle, when no one is watching, that resilience is formed. It's in choosing to show up for herself, even when she doesn't feel like it. It's in making the decision to keep trying, even when the results aren't immediate. People often mistake solitude for weakness, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful places to grow. When a woman is alone, she has the chance to listen to herself. Really listen. She becomes in tune with her own thoughts, her own desires, her own intuition. There is no outside noise telling her who she should be, what she should want, or how she should live. She gets to decide, and in that decision, she begins to build a version of herself that is rooted in authenticity, not in the self-belief is the final piece of the puzzle. It is easy to doubt oneself when there is no external validation, when there is no one cheering from the sidelines. But the most powerful breakthroughs happen when a woman decides to believe in herself, even when no one else does. This is not arrogance, it's necessity. She has to become her own biggest supporter, her own motivator, her own source of encouragement. Because if she waits for the world to validate her worth, she may be waiting forever. There will be moments when the weight of it all feels unbearable, moments when she questions if she's strong enough, if she's capable enough, if she's making the right choices. The mind plays tricks, whispering doubts, trying to convince her to go back to what's familiar, even if it wasn't good for her. But growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in the discomfort of pushing forward despite fear, despite exhaustion, despite uncertainty. The beauty of rebuilding alone is that in the process, she becomes unbreakable. She learns to trust herself in a way she never has before. She becomes the kind of woman who no longer waits to be saved because she has learned to save herself. She discovers that her power was never in someone else's hands. It was always within her. People will always have something to say when they see someone trying to rise again. The moment a woman begins rebuilding herself, especially after a tough fall, the world starts watching. And not everyone is watching with good intentions. Some are waiting to see her fail. Some are whispering doubts behind her back. Some are convinced she will never make it without the people, the circumstances, or the life she once had. But what they think does not define her destiny. Their opinions do not have the power to dictate where she is going, how far she can go, or what she is capable of achieving. It is easy to get caught up in what people say. Their words can creep into the mind, making her question herself, making her wonder if maybe they're right, maybe she isn't strong enough, maybe she can do it alone, maybe this is as far as she was meant to go. But that is where many dreams die, not because they were impossible, but because they were abandoned under the weight of outside opinions. A woman who is rebuilding herself has to learn the difference between hearing the noise and listening to it. The noise will always be there, but it doesn't have to control her. People love to judge a journey they have never walked. They assume they know her struggles, her challenges, her pain, but they don't. They weren't there on the nights she cried herself to sleep. They weren't there when she had to push past exhaustion just to keep going. They weren't there when she had to talk herself out of quitting over and over again. And because they weren't there, they have no right to define what she is capable of. Their opinions are based on their own limitations, their own fears, their own inability to see what is possible. Just because they can't see her future doesn't mean she doesn't have one. A woman who is determined to rise must develop tunnel vision. She has to focus so intensely on her goals, her healing, and her future that the opinions of others become background noise. She must become so committed to her growth that no amount of doubt, criticism, or negativity can shake her foundation. This doesn't mean the words won't sting sometimes. It doesn't mean she won't have moments where she feels alone in her fight. It simply means she refuses to let those moments define her. The truth is, people will talk whether she succeeds or fails. If she stays down, they will say she gave up. If she rises, they will question how she did it. If she moves on, they will claim she changed. There is no winning when living for the approval of others. The only way to win is to live for herself, to wake up every day and make choices that align with her vision, not with the expectations of people who were never meant to walk her path. The most dangerous thing she can do is hand her power over to people who don't believe in her. She must guard her mind, protect her peace, and remind herself daily that she is capable. She must surround herself with voices that lift her up, whether that comes from books, prayer, mentors, or even just the voice inside her that refuses to let her quit. The moment she realizes that outside opinions have no control over her future, she becomes unstoppable. There is a certain power in a woman who refuses to be defined by her past, by her failures, or by the assumptions of others. She becomes a force when she decides that no matter what has happened, no matter what people say, no matter who doubts her, she will rise anyway. And when she finally does, when she stands tall in her success, in her healing, in her strength, the same people who doubted her will be the ones asking how she did it. The struggle of rebuilding is something few truly understand unless they've lived it. When a woman finds herself starting over, the world only sees the surface. They see her showing up, handling responsibilities, and moving forward, but they don't see the weight she carries. They don't see the long nights of doubt, the quiet moments of pain, or the battle she fights every day to keep going. The transformation happening within her is unseen, but it is powerful. It is shaping her into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient than she ever thought possible. There is something about hardship that forces a woman to grow in ways she never expected. At first, the process feels unfair. It feels like everything is working against her. Like no matter how much she tries, she keeps facing setback after setback. She questions why life has placed her in this position, why she has to go through so much alone, why the thing she wanted didn't work out the way she planned. But slowly, as she pushes through, she starts to see that the struggle is not just breaking her, it is building her. Pain is a teacher, and some of the most important lessons in life come wrapped in difficulty. The struggle forces her to learn things about herself that she never had to confront before. She learns how to depend on herself, how to trust her own instincts, how to move forward even when she doesn't have all the answers. She learns who is truly there for her and who is only around for convenience. She learns that strength is not about never falling, it's about rising every single time she does. The world often underestimates the power of a woman in the middle of her transformation. They assume that just because she is struggling, she is weak. They think that just because she has been knocked down, she won't be able to rise again. But what they don't realize is that every setback is making her stronger. Every disappointment is teaching her resilience. Every loss is preparing her for something greater. She is not broken, she is becoming. She is shedding old versions of herself, letting go of what no longer serves her, and stepping into a new level of power. It's easy to doubt yourself when no one sees the work you're putting in. It's easy to wonder if you're making progress when all you feel is exhaustion. But transformation is not always visible at first. The strongest people didn't become that way overnight. They were shaped through battles that no one else witnessed. Strength is built in the quiet moments, in the sacrifices, in the decision to keep moving forward even when giving up seems easier. There is a version of her that existed before the struggle, and there is a version of her that will exist after it. And the difference between the two will be undeniable. She will look back one day and realize that every hardship, every challenge, every tear was a necessary part of her becoming. She will recognize that the pain she once resented was the very thing that shaped her into the woman she was meant to be. The world may not see it now, but the transformation is happening. And when she emerges from it, she will be unrecognizable in the best way possible. Once a woman learns to stand on her own, she becomes unstoppable. There is something about going through the fire alone, rebuilding from nothing and finding strength in solitude that changes her completely. She no longer waits for permission, validation, or approval to move forward. She no longer seeks security in people who have already shown her they cannot be counted on. She becomes her own foundation, her own source of power, her own greatest ally. At first, standing alone feels unnatural. It is uncomfortable, even painful. The silence can feel heavy, the loneliness overwhelming. She remembers the times when she had someone to lean on, the moments when life felt easier, the days when she wasn't carrying so much on her own. But then something shifts. The more she learns to depend on herself, the more she realizes that she doesn't need to be saved. She stops looking for someone to rescue her and starts trusting herself to handle whatever comes next. The strength she gains from this process is something no one can take from her. When a woman learns to stand alone, she becomes untouchable in a way that makes people take notice. She is no longer controlled by fear, fear of being abandoned, fear of failing, fear of the unknown. She has already faced those things and survived. She knows what it's like to start over from nothing, to pick up the pieces of a life she thought she lost, to push forward even when she had no idea where she was going. And because she has done it once, she knows she can do it again. She is no longer swayed by empty promises, half-hearted apologies, or toxic cycles disguised as second chances. She does not waste her energy proving her worth to people who fail to see it. She does not lower her standards just to keep people in her life. She does not chase anyone because she has learned that what is meant for her will always come without force. Her value is not up for debate, and she refuses to shrink herself just to make others comfortable. Her confidence is different now. It is not based on appearance, status, or external validation. It comes from knowing who she is and what she brings to the table. She walks differently, talks differently, and moves differently because she is no longer operating from a place of lack. She does not beg for love, opportunities, or respect. She commands them simply by being herself. People can feel her energy before she even speaks. There's no need for her to prove anything because her presence alone speaks volumes. When a woman reaches this level of self-sufficiency, the world reacts in two ways. Some people will be inspired, drawn to her strength, wanting to know how she did it. Others will feel threatened, uncomfortable with the fact that she no longer fits into the box they once placed her in, but by then she no longer cares. She is not living for the opinions of others, she is living for herself. She does not waste time explaining her growth to people who refuse to grow themselves. She does not slow down to make others feel more secure in their mediocrity. She keeps moving, keeps building, keeps elevating. Her journey has taught her that the only constant in life is change. People will come and go, seasons will shift, and circumstances will evolve. But the one thing she can always count on is herself. She knows that she is capable of handling whatever life throws her way, not because she has all the answers, but because she has faith in her ability to figure things out. She does not crumble under pressure. She adapts. She does not dwell on losses. She learns from them. She does not waste time on things that drain her energy. She invests in what fuels her growth. This version of her is not concerned with proving people wrong or seeking revenge on those who doubted her. She does not need to because her success is the loudest statement she could ever make. She is living proof that a woman who builds herself up after being broken is a force unlike any other. She does not just survive, she thrives. And once she reaches this level of confidence, clarity, and self-sufficiency, nothing and no one can stop her. There comes a time in every woman's journey when she realizes that everything she needs has been within her all along. She no longer waits for someone to hand her an opportunity, to give her permission to move forward, or to validate her worth. She steps into her power fully and unapologetically because she has learned that she is capable of building the life she wants with her own two hands. This realization does not come easily. It is born out of struggle, out of nights spent questioning her path, out of moments when she had no choice but to rely on herself. It happens after she has been knocked down, after she has had to start over more times than she can count, after she has faced loss, betrayal, and disappointment. She comes to understand that no one is coming to save her, and instead of letting that thought break her, she allows it to set her free. When a woman reaches this level of self-awareness, she no longer moves through life seeking approval. She does not shrink herself to fit into places that do not recognize her value. She does not allow fear to keep her stuck in situations that no longer serve her. She trusts herself. She trusts her instincts, her abilities, and her ability to navigate whatever comes next. She understands that challenges will come, but she no longer sees them as obstacles. She sees them as opportunities to grow. People will notice the change in her. They will see the way she carries herself, the way she walks into a room with quiet confidence, the way she no longer entertains anything that does not align with her purpose. Some will admire her, inspired by the way she rebuilt herself from nothing. Others will feel threatened, uncomfortable with the fact that she is no longer the woman they once knew. But she does not concern herself with their opinions. She has worked too hard to rediscover herself, to let outside noise shake her foundation. She knows that everything she went through was preparing her for this version of herself. The pain, the setbacks, the lonely nights, it was all necessary. It was breaking her down so she could be rebuilt stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than before. She no longer resents the hardships she endured because she understands that they shaped her into the woman she was meant to become. She no longer hesitates to take up space. She speaks with conviction, knowing that her voice matters. She chases her dreams relentlessly, refusing to settle for anything less than what she deserves. She does not ask for respect, she commands it. She does not tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or anything that drains her energy. She has learned that protecting her peace is not selfish, it is necessary. Her mindset is different now. She no longer focuses on what she lost, but on what she is building. She no longer wastes time on regret, but on creating the future she envisions. She no longer waits for opportunities, she creates them. She understands that she is the author of her own story, and she refuses to let anyone else hold the pen. She embraces solitude, not because she is afraid of love, but because she has learned to love herself first. She no longer seeks relationships out of loneliness, but out of genuine connection. She is whole on her own, and because of that, she attracts people who are also whole. She no longer tolerates half-hearted efforts, empty promises, or anything that does not align with her worth. She has outgrown the need to prove her value. She knows who she is. The way she moves through life now is different. She is not rushing, not forcing, not chasing. She trusts that everything meant for her will find her at the right time. She focuses on her growth, her peace, and her purpose. She knows that success is not just about what she achieves, but about the woman she becomes in the process. She is no longer the same person she was when she started this journey, and she would not want to be. Every struggle, every setback, every moment of doubt led her to this version of herself. And now that she has found her power, she will never give it away again.